Welcome to On Record PR. I'm Gina Rubel, your host for today's episode. We're honored to welcome Katayun, aka Kathy Jaffari, a trailblazing attorney and the current Chancellor of the Philadelphia Bar Association. Under Kathy's leadership, the association is charting a courageous course with its Meeting the Moment campaign or initiative, which highlights the vital role lawyers and legal institutions play in defending democratic values, judicial independence, and access to justice. I do want to say this is a pretty serious topic, but it's one that I, as a Philadelphia Bar Association member, am so proud to talk about. As the legal landscape evolves amid political polarization and attacks on the rule of law, Kathy's voice serves as a beacon for civility, leadership, and constitutional fidelity. Today, we'll explore how bar associations and law firms can draw inspiration from the Philadelphia Bar Association's example and mobilize to continue to defend our most cherished democratic principles. So, Kathy, welcome to the show.
Gina, thank you so much for having me today.
Gosh, I'm so thank you for making the time. I know or assume that you've been quite busy these last few years. So
it's busy time, but it's an important conversation. And honestly, we're grateful to have the conversation with you.
Thank you. Well, your leadership in the Philadelphia Bar Association comes at a time when constitutional values are under immense pressure. Can you share the driving vision behind Meeting the Moment and how it came to life in the Philadelphia Bar Association?
I would be really happy, and I'm really glad to have the opportunity to talk about this Meeting the Moment initiative. And I love your question, Gina, because I love those words, how it came to life, because I really do feel that it had a momentum. It has a momentum. And actually, the way it began was, for me, life affirming. We have a committee called Delivery of Legal Services, and it is an incredible committee at the Philadelphia Bar Association where the leaders of all of the nonprofit legal service organizations come to a safe space to talk, to have dialogue, to share tips and tools, and to also support each other. And in late November, early December, we had a meeting that I attended. And the thought at that meeting was, we know change will come in 2025. Perhaps that will affect the most vulnerable in our communities, in Philadelphia, and for our clients. And so what can we do to make sure that we support the Philadelphia community and our clients, especially in the world of public service? And what lawyers actually do, in my opinion, every day, even when they're representing corporate clients. I'm a corporate attorney. And when I represent my corporate clients, I am striving to do the very best for those organizations that are feeding the economy of the United States. And so with that said, we sat, we talked, and we thought about what we might need in 2025. Now, to me, Gina, I don't know, as I look back, it's fascinating that as I devised the concept of Meeting the Moment and what we wanted to present as an organization, I did that in the December timeframe. And so to launch it post January 20th was really fascinating to me, to actually have us feel and see the need come to life. We really thought what would be important for the association to do was make sure it found a role to support its members, the legal profession, and the community in what absolutely appeared to be unprecedented, I'll use the word, Gina, chaos. The amount of information and going straight to the heart of executive orders that we saw and continue to see is unprecedented. And in our minds as legal practitioners, almost in the form of what felt like chaos. And so we thought we needed to answer the question, how can the legal community join together to protect the rule of law, defend democracy, and assist individuals whose rights are under attack. That's how it felt.
I have to tell you, the first day I felt hope in 2025 as a lawyer who really does care about the rule of law, the Constitution, and not judging firms for what they need to do right now by any means.
Agreed. I have no judgment to
No,
that.
no.
What anybody feels the need to do.
There are reasons that everyone is doing different things, and we're not in those boardrooms. But I felt hopeless about the law, why I went to law school, the Constitution, and I attended the law day in Philadelphia, and it was the first day I felt hopeful. Like there we all were, many of us, over 400 members, retaking our oaths. And, you know, your speech was incredibly moving. I shared it on social media. I was just really blown away. And I was not missing that for anything. And that was one of the, you know, meeting the moment events. And that was just one. I don't think anybody who wasn't there can really understand how important that moment was. And every program that you've done since, you know, talking to the judges who are afraid to make decisions because something might happen to them, or, you know, lawyers who are afraid they're going to get an EEOC letter because they had a DE&I initiative, or, you know, so it's really, I just want to thank you as a lawyer on my own behalf.
Thank you.
But you have stood behind not only the Philadelphia Bar Association, but the American Bar Association.
Yes.
In a way that I do not know that I have seen elsewhere. And so thank you. And I mean that. I mean that. Thank you and every leader in the Philadelphia Bar, because it's game changing.
And I want to highlight that. Gina, I'm so grateful for your comments. And I really want to echo, it is the leadership of the Philadelphia Bar Association. It is the Board of Governors that is supporting the initiatives and the conversations. It's the Board of Governors and the current leadership, the Chancellor-elect, Ezra Wergelernter, the Vice Chancellor, Christine Callalang, our former Executive Director, Harvey Hurdle, our current Executive Director. He retired happily. Our current Executive Director, Christy Jones, and all of the immense work of the staff. We all are coming together and really, I guess what we're doing, Gina, is we are being the voice for the community. Yes. We are doing what we believe and what our members believe and what the community believes we need to protect the rule of law, defend our democracy, and really stand for justice and access to justice. And that is showing up, standing up, and speaking up. And that's what we've been doing. And Gina, if I could just share with you and for your listeners, we have 3 really key goals and strategies for our Meeting the Moment series and initiative. And I'm really proud to say, I feel that we have not only met those goals and strategies, but as a collective, we've surpassed them with the work of the membership, right? One of which is what we refer to as convening. We convene all of the different groups that are affected by the changes. And I guess just to be more focused, Gina, at the federal level, to identify the opportunities or any paths forward to help communities who have been challenged or even attacked. And then we communicate. So we have convenings and we have communication, like Law Day, where we communicate the vision, the voice, the ability to stand and retake our oath. And we are speaking out on issues that are core to our missions. And we created, Gina, for example, a clearinghouse of information on our website where you can go and you can see all of the different Meeting the Moment programs and resources, not just, Gina, to know your rights, but as important, maybe more important, to know the law, to have a feeling of the current state of the law. And then finally, Gina, it's to collaborate, right? It's our 3 C's: convening, communicate, and collaborate. Really reaching out being together, supporting each other, and reaching out to all different groups across the city to really assist, support, further any of the existing initiatives, or even partnering with new initiatives and what they may come to see. Because certainly, Gina, we're not done in the world that we're living in defending the rule of law, judicial independence, the independence of the legal profession, and as I talked about, access to justice. Gina,
Well, the bar has done a great job. And, I'm curious
yeah,
can you share some of the data around the mobilization? Like how many people have signed up for the programs
oh,
and
sure.
things like
I
that?
have some of
I
that.
think I want our listeners to know how you've impacted the community.
Really grateful for the question, Gina, because I think statistics help show impact, and I think that's why it's such a great question. I when I ask for information, I'm always amazed about what we've been able to do. Imagine in the grand scheme of our Meeting the Moment initiative, there's a lot that goes along in those 3 C's, but we also have had 6 convenings, and they've been around all the major issues: immigration, LGBTQ plus rights, the threat to education and disability rights, the federal funding freeze, rule of law, and DE and I. We have had 1,571 people sign up for these convenings. And maybe an interesting statistic is the Meeting the Moment has been a major contributor to the overall 30% increase in registration of Philadelphia Bar Association events between fiscal 25 and fiscal 24, which
That's incredible. I mean, that really is incredible. So for bar association leaders listening, it really is it's what we always tell people, but they don't always listen. It's you're being timely with your information, not just timely, but being relevant
yes.
with your information so that it's, you can only do the same CLEs over and over and over again. And people are like, okay, yeah, I've gone to this a million times over. You made it so relevant in a time when it was needed. Before we ask you the next question, Kathy, I have to take a quick break for a message from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Furia Ruble Communications, a public relations and marketing agency serving law firms and businesses worldwide. With an expert team positioned throughout the U.S. and supported by an international faculty, Furia Ruble enhances our clients' brands through integrated communications by providing expert guidance in crisis management and high-profile litigation, protecting brand and reputation, and supporting internal marketing teams. To learn more, visit furiaruble.com.
So we're back and so excited, Kathy. We're not going to have a lot of time left. So what I want to ask you is for bar associations across the country who want to meet the moment, but may not know where to start, what practical steps do you recommend? Or even for law firms, not just bar associations,
Yeah.
anyone who really, like, what can they be doing?
So, Gina, it's a really good question because it's about impact, right? It's about action. What's the action that we can take? And just to be maybe blunt, as a large city bar association, especially in Philadelphia, I do feel that it's easier for the Philadelphia Bar Association to speak on politically divisive issues. However, what I want to share is our programming has not been focused on politics. Our program has been focused on helping legal professionals deal with policy changes that have created real implications on how to practice law. So, what I feel other trade associations can do, which many have, including the American Bar Association, which some law firms have been able to do, I do believe all can come together and look to see how they can serve their clients and the community that they live and work in as best as politics. And perhaps as best as possible, rather than having a political conversation, having a true conversation about the law, the current state of the law, what are the challenges around the state of the law, and how we can meet those challenges. So making sure that you're abreast of the issues and the topics that are happening. You're providing at least access to information so that your employees or your clients or your other colleagues can have access to information and make their own judgments about how to really work to the betterment of the profession. And I just think it's important to make sure that firms, organizations really find a way to have conversations, giving people an opportunity also, Gina, where necessary, to have an outlet for any concerns that they may have or any questions that they may have. And I don't know if you know this, but I actually had the opportunity 10 years ago to go to the leadership of the Bar Association and say wellness of lawyers matters. And we started a wellness committee. And so it's really important for law firms and bar associations and organizations to continue to support employee self-care. Because right now, in a world of chaos, right now, in a world of stress where lawyers have always had stress, I feel that it has double or tripled, and we need to continue to maintain that ability to help our lawyers take care of themselves.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I did one of our podcasts was with Renee Branson, who's a resilience expert, and she talks about wellness in law firms. And I'll put a link to that in the show notes because this is one of the things that people do need to be doing. When I say people, law firms, bar associations, is providing those resources for wellness, behavioral health, asking people, are you okay?
Yes.
Like our Black and brown colleagues, our LGBTQIA plus colleagues, our senior colleagues, our women colleagues. I was devastated when the Dobbs decision came down. I called a former chancellor of the Philadelphia Bar Association, Deb Willig, who has become a very good friend of mine, hysterical crying. And she's like, what is wrong with you? And I said, I can't believe this happened. She's like, didn't you expect this?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that because she knew it was coming. And I think I just couldn't believe that would actually happen. And so there's so many things we can be doing just to lift one another up. And I say that the Philadelphia Bar Association has done that. It's provided incredible resources.
Thank you.
In fact, I also interviewed Wendy Castor Hess on the immigration issues. I'm like, what's going on, Wendy? And she's, one of your chairs.
And that was our first Meeting the Moment program. And we did that back in February, right, Gina? And that launched our immigration roundtables every Friday, once a month. People who are immigration lawyers or are volunteering or want to support the community come together. And that's the key of the Meeting the Moment initiative, right? It's more than an initiative. It is meeting the moment movement. It is continuing to the conversation outside of our large events into, additional convenings, communications, and collaborations.
So before we close, why is leadership in the legal community more critical than ever in today's climate?
Oh, that's a good question. I truly believe that it is the lawyers and judges that will stand strong and hold up our democracy. I believe individuals and individual attorneys want to see the legal community stand firm for the values that it's always had, including those values of judicial independence and independence of the association, of the profession. And I have to say, the Philadelphia Bar Association, we can and will continue to show up, stand up, and speak up in ways that others may not be able to find themselves able to do. And so we will do that. Join us in both the support of the association and the conversation. And Gina, honestly, the attendance at our Meeting the Moment events, the attendance at Law Day, they're really the evidence that the legal community is looking for leadership on the issue to find ways that individuals can make an impact. And you can make an impact with the Philadelphia Bar Association, and I'm really proud of that.
Well, Kathy, you've made an incredible impact.
Thank you.
I've been involved since I was a young lawyer on the executive committee in 1994. I'm aging the two of us because I know we graduated law school the same year, and I think the same year. And I've worked with Ezra in the past, and he's going to, he's already leading alongside of you, and he's going to do a great job. And you have a great team there. So I'm glad you mentioned all of them.
And Gina, I have to say, we have some exciting things coming in 2026, right? We have the 250th anniversary, and Philadelphia is the place to be for that. And as we continue to stand for the rule of law and we defend our democracy this year and the access to justice, we're going to do that and continue to do that with hope and light into 2026, where we can have a true celebration and have the voices, our voices, Gina, as
Yes,
right?
I can figure out how to get involved with that.
We will. But as lawyers, we can help represent that cause.
Well, I do want to thank you for joining us today, and I want to thank all of our listeners and viewers. I also want to share the Protect the Rule of Law Coalition with everyone. You might see, if you're watching or if you're listening, I'll share the link, but Kathy and I are both wearing our Protect Rule of Law pins. And there's a website called protectruleoflaw.com. And it's really about bridging communities, not creating more divides. So I'm not going to go into long about that, but I'll just say go to protectruleoflaw.com if you want to learn more, if you want to get your own pin and be able to wear it in solidarity without being political. It's purple, which is an equal mix of red and blue. So again, it's not political. And if you found today's episode helpful, please subscribe, share it with a colleague, and consider leaving a review on iTunes. And I'm going to ask you all, continue to share your feedback with us on what you want to hear, because we are here to serve the community. Just email us at podcast@onrecordpr.com. And with that, we will see you next week.
On Record PR is produced by Jennifer Simpson Carr and Matt Henderson, with support from the team at Furia Ruble Communications. This episode is edited by Isabel Horan and Christian Yamula. Visit www.onrecordpr.com for resources and more information.